this is our prayer box. We keep it back in the back where it's available for the congregation before and after service. You can always write your prayers down and place them in the box. Now let's go for just 1 second. Take a deep breath. And go to that still place inside and remember that whether you take your prayers straight to Christ Center within you, or write them down and place them in the box, or ask for prayer during our prayers and celebrations section, or consult with a prayer chaplain, Spirit within knows the desires of your hearts and knows your needs before you even express them. Let us lift those prayers up into higher consciousness now. And so it is. Thank you. Amen.
Mrs. Turner, we can see our daily word.
The word for today is empowered. And I'm going to ask each and every one to just take a moment and pull out the little sheet that's in your bulletin and read the affirmation at the top aloud, along with me. I am empowered to bring my highest good into expression. Those are good words to listen to when you think you can't make it. Remember, if you dig down deep, you can make it. The Gospel of John shares how the crippled man at the pool of Bethesda learned the words and rituals that could lead to his healing, even though he had not been able to achieve the goal. Jesus demonstrated that the true answer was much simpler. Stand up, take up your mat, and walk. The faith demonstrated through the simple act of standing was all that was necessary to overcome the apparent limitations in which he had been living. I may have caused myself great confusions in the past because I believed the power necessary to live a spiritually centered life could be found outside myself. Today, I know that I am innately empowered to make the choice that will bring my highest good into expression. And the scripture comes from Joshua 1:9. Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Thank you.
Okay, and next we'll have our Sacred Lord's Prayer. Say it with me.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
So move deeper into that place of connectedness. Just take some deep breaths. Allow the words, I am inspiring. That is what we're doing when we're breathing in. We are inspiring. We are inspired. Allow that divine idea. I am inspired. that inspirational energy flow through you. Filling every cell of your body. With every breath, feel that divine energy. And as you are filled, as you let go that which has expired, just gently release, letting go. This is not for me here, now, in this moment. And let it go. And it is so simple. As I breathe inspiration in, I release and let go that which has expired. And as I do this on what is here and now in this moment, let me breathe that inspiration into those cares that I am carrying, whatever they may be. I breathe inspiration into this situation. I breathe inspiration into this emotion. And as I visualize this infilling of inspiration, that which troubles me leaves. It is now expired. So let us sit in the silence for a moment, allowing that process of inspiration and expiration to take place as we move that understanding and that awareness deep into the center of our being, into that divine wholeness that we are in the silence. And continue that process of inspiration and expiration as you bring yourself just a little up from that awareness of your mind. Feel that healing energy. Become aware that you are ready. You are ready. And know that as we move forward, we continue that process. We invite that awareness. And we say, thank you. Thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. We are manifesting in the moment. There's more people out there than there were a few minutes ago. So well, that's okay. I'm glad you have me. Here, you have some water. Good. You've got some water there. Yes.
Some coffee still.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. This send energy. Yes, we know that. We know that feeling. Yes. And so today, I don't think I got the title to Lucy on time, so you may not have it in your bulletin, but we're talking about real magic. We're talking about divine ideas. Is that a little bit better than poison ivy?
That was a good one.
Divine ideas. And yes, and I think this is just kind of the other end of that spectrum, you know? Divine ideas, real magic. And I don't know if anybody pays attention to their little Unity calendar that we hand out at the beginning of the year, but each month has a theme in that process. And so the month of June, the theme is, I am confident. I am bold and confident. I live with divine audacity. I love that word. When I read that word, it just went, yes, I live with divine audacity. Let's say that together.
I live with divine audacity.
Yes, and let's do it again.
I live with divine audacity.
And one more time.
I live with divine audacity.
Because you know, you say, why do you say it 3 times? Because what you say 3 times is true. Did you ever hear that when you grew up? You know, what I say 3 times is true. That's part of the whole magic ritual, you know? So I say it 3 times. I am an audacious being. And so these words from Paul's letter to the Philippians says, I can do all things through divine spirit that strengthens me. I can do all things. Does not eliminate anything. I can do all things. And I saw these lines from the poet Jack Gilbert, and they really spoke to me. We must risk delight. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of the world. I love that. We must risk delight. How many times do you hear people say they're not going to do that because they're afraid if they're really, really happy, they'll lose something. So I must risk delight. We must have the stubbornness to accept our gladness in the ruthless furnace of the world. To accept our gladness. And what is this ruthless furnace? All we have to do is look at the news and have this feeling, oh, well, it's really bad out there, and therefore I should not be glad. I should not have delight. And what are we doing when we do that? We are taking wonderful positive power out of the world, because who brings that delight, energy into the world? We do. We do. You know, the substance that is out there is simply out there. It is human beings that take that substance and transmute it into ways that other human beings make use of. So to have that stubbornness of our gladness. And when we see something that touches our heart, allow it to touch our heart, but don't allow it to suck us down into the situation. So he was also a speaker and a teacher up at the University of Tennessee several years ago. And here's what he said to one of his students, or asked, what do you want to do with your life? So he was teaching writing, creative writing. I want to be a writer. Do you have the courage to bring forth this work? The treasures that are hidden inside you are hoping you will say yes. Now think about that.
Wow.
You have the courage to do this, and these treasures are hoping that you will say yes. And so we could also ask, are you audacious enough? Are we audacious enough to know that that which is within us wants to be expressed out there? So as I look out there and as I was writing this, how many people do we have in this group that write, that sing, that do poetry, that do every bit of creativity, that do painting, that do, so we are expressing that courageous audacity, and maybe some of us aren't quite as audacious as we could be, to think about that process, to think about what is it, why am I doing this? So, because we're all creative in our spirituality. If you look around here, we are creative in our spirituality, however we define that. We are all audaciously stepping out of the social norms of, at least in the South, of what spirituality means. So we think about that just by showing up here, just by doing the kind of practice that we do at home, the prayer practice, the kind of books we read, the way we approach the world. We are being audacious in our spirituality. Take a deep breath. I am audacious. Yes, yes. Because currently our society is polarized. There's always been groups that are. It's nothing, absolutely nothing new. But to have it so widespread and that we hear so much about it, so it's either black or white, right or wrong, yes or no. There's no shades in between. But think about where we are or where we want to be. Sometimes we can get caught up in that yes or no, right or wrong. But in general, our experience, our view of the world is full of color. Think about that. We look at life like we're looking at a rainbow. Think about that. My spirituality leads me to look at life as a rainbow. And when can you see rainbows? When there are showers, maybe when there have been storms. And when I can look up and see the rainbow. And so when we use that metaphorically and metaphysically, when there are storms out there, I can choose to see all of those beautiful colors. I can choose to make that my reality. We are willing to be open to real magic, to divine ideas. Think about that. Are you willing? I'm willing. I'm willing to be open to real magic. I'm willing to be open to divine ideas. And I believe happiness is a divine idea. Think about that. Does that resonate with you? Happiness is a divine idea. It can also feel magical in the moment. So here's a quote I shared with you at the very end last week. Sometimes happiness is simply recognizing that you are happy. Ooh, just taking a deep breath and looking around and going, oh yeah, I'm here. So last Sunday evening, and so it was just before dusk, and I realized that firefly time comes just before dusk. But just a little bit before dusk, there was a big thunderstorm kind of came through my area. It didn't last very long, but it was really heavy. And so as it got to be time for the fireflies, I wondered, with all this rain and everything, would there be any? So I stepped out on my deck, and there were more fireflies than I had seen up until that time. They were all over the place, and they were on the deck, and they were flashing in front of my face. It was really magical. And I love this idea of the fireflies and magic and related to divine ideas. And in this concept, I'm using divine ideas as any of those wonderful ideas that come to you for creative expression. Because here are these fireflies, and I can see them out there, but in 15 minutes, if I go out there, they're not going to be there. They're going to be gone. Are they gone? Absolutely not. They've just gone back to where they live. And if I don't pay any attention, and they're out there flying around, I'm not experiencing that magic in that moment. And I have to tell you, so maybe it was last night, that through the same thing happened. There was a pretty heavy rain shower just before firefly time. And during the week, I've been trying to remember to step out there because it really don't last for very long. Maybe 30 minutes at most. And if I forget, then I miss them. So I've been kind of going out, and sometimes there were a few, but there were never very many. But after the rainstorm yesterday, again, it was just, so it must be something about the rain. And is that very metaphysical? After the rain, after the thunderstorm, here comes the magic.
Yes.
So to have that kind of sense within us. So here's from Elizabeth Gilbert, no relationship to Jack Gilbert, the book Big Magic. I love her writing. And she has this really wonderful idea, description of ideas. And I call it the divine flow of ideas. She doesn't use that word divine. So she's not coming from a spiritual perspective. I believe our planet is inhabited not only by plants and animals and bacteria and viruses, but also by ideas. Ideas are disembodied, energetic life forms. They are completely separate from us, but capable of interacting with us, albeit strangely. Ideas have no material body, but they do have consciousness, and they certainly have will. Ideas are driven by a single impulse, to be made manifest. And the only way an idea can be made manifest is through collaboration with a human partner. It is only through a human's efforts that an idea can be escorted out of the ether and into the realm of the actual. Now, I love that. I love that. And doesn't that fit also with divine ideas? It can only be expressed through a human being bringing it into manifestation. She goes on, therefore, ideas spend eternity swirling around us, searching for available and willing human partners. I'm talking about all ideas here, scientific, artistic, industrial, commercial, ethical, religious, political. When an idea thinks it has found someone, you, who might be able to bring it into this world, the idea will pay you a visit. It will try to get your attention. It will try for a while, but if you don't receive it, it will move on to someone else. So the other thing to make use of these divine ideas, you must have a sense of your own worth, your divine entitlement, your divine audacity. How many times have maybe you or you heard somebody say, who am I to do this? Any of us that stand up here in front of people can say, who am I to stand up there and share this information? Well, who am I? Who are you not to do that? So to experience what is our divine audacity, you claim your right to be creative, and you claim your access to divine ideas. I don't have to do anything particular. I don't have to be a really good person. I don't have to go here or go. I have the right. I am created with that ability and that right to make use of divine ideas. And you must claim it not once. So how many people said, I used that affirmation the other day, didn't work. You have to do it regularly. You have to do it every time the idea comes up that says, I can't do this. No, I'm not good enough. I don't have enough creative power. All of those I am not processes. The ego says, who do you think you are to claim all this? Funny you should ask that, dear ego. I am divine energy in expression. I am supported by all the loving power of the universe. I have every resource and divine substance available for my creative use. But since there you go, you don't really get it. Just think of it as a magic, big magic, divine magic. It's just magic. So I want to read you some thoughts from the Daily Word on this whole idea of divine ideas. I am open and receptive to the manifestation of divine ideas. Are we? You know, can I say that? You know, is that something? I am open and receptive to the manifestation. So manifestation means I actually get these ideas in my head. My mind is nurtured by divine ideas. So not only are these ideas there for me to manifest, but my whole mind, my whole being is nurtured by these divine ideas, because the divine idea of health and wholeness is there. The divine idea of love and support is there. All creation comes from divine mind as divine ideas. All creation. So when we look out there and, you know, I'm not a person, you know, I am a person who believes in evolution. However, I'm also a person who believes that there is an amazing intelligence out there that is behind this whole creative process, however that comes to be. And all you have to do is read a little bit of literature and things and how closely defined this universe is to, if it was 1 degree off here or 1 inch off here, we would not have what we have. That there is something out there that I choose to experience and understand as God, that is bringing this all together, which includes all of us, and that we have that same power. It is not at the same, you know, I need to be very glad that no one of us can go out there and go whoosh, you know, and there's the universe. However, we are a universe. We are a universe. And thoughts held in mind, you know, the beliefs held in mind, all of that process creates both some reality, you know, things happen and we get to choose how to express it, but we're also creating. And where is that boundary? I don't know. But I know that it is there, and if I pay attention and I step back, I can begin to experience that boundary. I consciously connect with the mind of God to create in my own life. To create in my own life. And so many people want to say, well, isn't that selfish? What do you mean creating in my own life? Well, the sad fact is I can't create in yours. You know, I just cannot do it. It is not physically possible for me to create in yours. But if I'm creating in mine, then that may provide a pattern. Somebody else can look at that. It's so important for us to share these amazing stories that we have, because we can say, okay, if you can do it, Gail can do it, if Cliff can do it, I can do it. Yes. We begin to understand the practicality of this. Divine ideas that flow through me spur wonderful experiences and blessings. And I like that word spur, because you know, we can just kind of sit there and go, oh, I'm just waiting for those divine ideas. But, you know, the divine idea comes along, and you know what a spur is, right? Ooh, there I am. I'm up and moving. Once I conceive an idea and imagine its fulfillment, I act in cooperation. So here is a very powerful word. I act in cooperation with the all-powerful, all-loving, all-wise Spirit of God, divine energy within me to bring the idea to fruition. So again, it isn't the idea that just stands up there and says, here I am, okay, you got it, you're on your own. No, it works in cooperation with all of this divine connection that we have. Creation is a divine process that is always at work. So there is another thing. We tend to believe that creation, that creative process is only happening when I'm thinking about it or wanting it to happen. No, folks, we are always creating, and if what is being created is not to your liking, you need to pay attention. What am I doing? What am I thinking? What am I paying attention to? What am I giving energy to? Because you don't have a choice of whether you're a creator or not. That comes with the territory. I stay aware and open and receptive to divine ideas that arise in my mind. I focus on what is good, loving, and healthy. And again, here's that word, in cooperation with indwelling spirit, I bring forth wonderful blessings for myself, my loved ones, and the world. So when I'm open to that process, it doesn't just stop with me. So as I'm bringing that in, now I have the energy and the resources, and I am filled, and that spreads out from me. So in closing, here are two of my favorite verses. So the first one is from Job. Decide on a matter, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. So decide on a matter. Haven't we had some quotes in the past few weeks about when you really put your mind on something, when you make a decision, all the access of the universe comes in to support that. But you are the one who has to make the first move. The universe doesn't say, if you will get out there, here's all of this resource. No, you have to decide you're going to get out there. Yes, I am going to step out there. And then the universe shines a light on your way. And this other one from Isaiah. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Oh, I love it. I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Yes. Divine ideas, real magic. Yes.
Wherever I am, God is, and all is well.
Amen. Thank you. Have a wonderful week.